Good day. This presentation is brought to you by Backyard Productions Incorporated. We hope you'll find it informative and fun. Sometimes, as at present, you may find it desirable or necessary for leaders or scouts to teach skills in a virtual world. Although platforms such as YouTube may have ready-made presentations, you may want to have more control over the content and its length. Therefore, units, leaders, and scouts may wish to experiment with making their own virtual presentations to share. These presentations do not have to be fancy or extravagant, and the technical knowledge and equipment needed is not overwhelming. Our example presentation is a backyard instruction on planning and cooking a foil meal over an open fire. In addition to creating and enjoying an easy-to-make and cook, fun meal, Youth and Scouts BSA can use this exercise to work on certain cooking requirements. For example, tenderfoot requirement 2A and second class requirements 2B, C, and E. This presentation will go in the following order: building the fire, building the foil meal, cooking the foil meal, and enjoying the foil meal. So in a few minutes, we'll get going.
Oh guys, okay, just know that there's no need to cut down a lot of trees, etc. Basically, what you need to do is search around the area, see if you can find some tinder and kindling and fuel, and what you'll be looking for is some fuel right down below here. We have some tinder, which is birch bark. Birch bark, you can use whatever you need for starting a fire. For tinder, you can use, I like to use birch bark. We have some kindling, and of course, we have a little larger pieces of wood. Right here, we have a little larger pieces. And basically, we light the tinder, put some kindling on, wait for that to fire, and once that gets going a little bit, you can add larger and larger pieces of wood. And continue to add larger pieces of wood until you get a large, all your actual big logs, so that you can actually burn up and get some coals with this. So once you just keep adding onto the fire with the larger and larger as the fire gets bigger. And then what you'll end up doing, of course, that's it. And then once you get the coals, you can cook your meal on the coals.
So here we go. We've got the fire started, and Ray is going to continue to
Add kindling.
feed the fire. He's going to add kindling, and when the fire gets going, he'll add fuel wood. And when we have enough coals to burn down or to cook the meal, then we'll actually take the meals out here and plop them on the coals and see what happens.
Hot, I'll tell you that. It's warm. Now, as the fire gets bigger, and obviously the flames are going pretty high, we're going to be adding larger and larger fuel on here. This is sort of medium fuel right here, but it is fuel. What we're going to do is get this fire pit going. And you can see we can add things like this now. Basically now it's starting to really go. So we'll start adding in some big, heavy logs for cooking. You don't have to be fancy with the fire, having teepee or whatever you might want to. What you need to do is have, you'll notice what I did here, I left a little opening right over in here so the wind can come in here or go this way, enter it, so that it can actually build up more flame. So that's one thing you can think about when you're building one of these fires.
Okay, now we're going to talk about actually preparing the foil meal before we go to get it on the coals. And this is going to take a couple of steps, and we'll show you some things. We'll break away to take care of some of the more time-consuming aspects and then come back. So the first task that you need to do, just like anything else you need to do, is to gather all your materials. Make sure you have everything that you're going to need at hand so you don't have to stop and run off and, ooh, I forgot this or that. You're going to need heavy-duty aluminum foil. You're going to need margarine to spread on the aluminum foil. Vegetables, here we've got onion, we've got some red skin potatoes, we've got an ear of corn. It's going to be interesting, see how we're going to use that. We've got some carrots. If you're a vegetable-only person, you can add beans to this if you would like, or even a veggie burger. If you're a meat person, like I am, and what we're going to do today is we've got some hamburger here that we're going to use for our protein. You're going to want some kind of or at least I do, going to want some kind of seasoning, so I brought along salt and pepper. I have some garlic powder here, and because I happen to like this, I even brought along a little ground sage that I'm going to put into mine. I've seen other folks put in chili powder, hot pepper, oregano, whatever spices you might like to put into your voile meal. Make sure that you have them ahead of time. You're going to need a pair of tongs so that you can flip the package once it gets onto the coals, because it's going to get really hot. Some kind of knife in order to cut the vegetables with. I prefer this one. You could also use something like this. This happens to be a filleting knife. It's got a longer blade if you have bigger vegetables. And something to spread the margarine. If you're not using a stick, you may use a tub of margarine. You're going to want something to spread the margarine on the aluminum foil so that you don't get your hands nasty. Now, what we're going to do is cut and slice, and you want to cut and slice. I'm just going to do a couple to give you an idea. Take the carrot, you're going to want to cut and slice about 1/2-inch coins. 1/4 to 1/2-inch coins. We're going to do that with, we're going to do that with the carrot. We're going to do that with the potatoes. The onion, I'm going to obviously peel off the outer layer, and I'm going to cut slices of the onion. How much onion? It depends on how much you like onion. I like a lot, so I'll probably have more on mine. The corn, we're going to husk, break it in half, and then split each half down the middle so that we can put basically 1/4 of an ear at the ends of the package to give ourselves a little corn in there. Before I actually start doing any more with the food, I need to go and wash my hands. That's part of campsite hygiene. Whenever you're going to work with food, you wash your hands first, whether it's fresh, frozen, cans, jars, it doesn't matter. Wash your hands. You can even have some hand sanitizer there to use just before you go to touch the food. So we're going to cut away now and do some cutting and slicing, and then come back to show you how the meal is put together. Okay, so what we've done here is we've laid out 3 sheets of heavy-duty aluminum foil. I have the shiny side in. Some people say it doesn't matter whether the shiny side is in or out. My prejudice is to have the shiny side in to reflect the heat back into the package. And what I've done is I've taken some margarine here with a little spatula, and I'm spreading margarine all over this inner sheet to act as both a lubricant and a flavoring for the food itself. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to put down a layer of potatoes. We're going to put carrots, about half of our carrots here on top of that, kind of spread things out. Put some onion. Way more onion than I need, I can tell right now. And in this container that I just took out of the cooler is my protein. It's a 1/4 pound, it's about 4 ounces, 1/4 pound of hamburger. Again, if you're a vegetable-only person, you can substitute beans or a veggie burger or whatever else you'd like to put in here. I kind of flatten the burger out. Place that on top. Put a little more potato. more carrot. A little more onion. Now the one thing I didn't do, I forgot to do, so we're going to have to take a break in just a second. I have to husk and split the corn so that we can put that on there, and I don't want to take up watching time while I'm struggling with that kernel, with that corn cob. Salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic powder. A little bit of garlic goes a long way, so you don't want a whole lot. And I'm going to sprinkle on some of my sage. Okay, we're going to take a quick break now while I husk and split the corn to put in. Okay, so I husked, or shucked I guess, and split the corn in half and then into quarters. We'll put that on the ends here. Now for the fun part. You want to do this one sheet at a time. Take the inner sheet, and you're going to bring the long ends together first, like this. And you're going to do what's called a delicatessen fold. You bring things together, you're going to fold it over, crimp it over, crimp it over, this way. Then you're going to do the same thing on the sides. Crimp them over, crimp them over. Okay, layer number one. Now, take it and flip it so that the seam is down. And then the same thing, you're going to bring the ends up. Do a delicatessen fold. And then crimp the ends. And then once again, flip it over. And actually what I'm going to do here for this last roll, this last sheet, don't go away. I'm going to pull out a longer sheet of aluminum foil, heavy duty aluminum foil for this last layer. Because I want to make sure that it's tightly sealed. Okay, now we have a tightly sealed package. What we're going to do when the fire's lit, when the coals are ready, we'll take this, we'll put it on the hot coals, and we're going to do what's called a 10-10-5-5 in terms of cooking time. I've seen different opinions. One I saw was 15 minutes on one side, 10 on the other, and then you're done. I think 15 minutes is going to lead to the possibility of burning. So what we're going to do is put it on for 10 minutes, Flip it over for 10 minutes, back for 5, back for 5. That'll give us 30 minutes of cooking time, which should be enough. And with only doing 10 minutes on the side the first time, we really shouldn't burn anything. So what we're going to do is put this aside for a moment. I have to make up the second foil meal for my partner, and then we're going to go see if the coals are ready.
These coals are really getting really nice now. Hey, well, we're about ready. We got some pretty good coal bed here. So we're going to end up putting Bob's meal over on this end, like that. We're going to take mine and put it over here on this end, like that. And that will wait. We started it. I'll get the time on it now.
Well, we'll be back in 10 minutes to flip them over.
Yep. Building a fire pit in your backyard, perhaps your parents might not appreciate digging up the backyard in your area. So there's some options, other options that you might be able to use. If you can't build a pit in your backyard or wherever it is you are, you could build a fire. If you happen to have a wheelbarrow that happens to be a metal wheelbarrow, you can build your campfire in there. You do your cooking fire right in there. Or some of you might have a little barbecue type pit that you can actually use this to build enough in here to build your fire for your cooking. Or if you have, this happens to be a propane
Grill.
This happens to be a propane grill, and you can utilize that. Or, as we have done many times in our troop, utilizing the garbage can lid and build our fires in here, our charcoal fires in here, and then in here you can put at least 4 or 5 or 6, probably about 5 meals in here. So as a patrol, you'd probably be able to work that. This happens to be the lid for this fireplace. And inside here, you can actually, matter of fact, it's an excellent spot to build a pit. It's almost perfect size for building a fire pit and cooking your meal in here. That's it.
Okay, we're about ready to flip after 10 minutes. So we've got the tongs and fireproof gloves. Never hurts to have them also. We flipped one, and we'll get around and flip the other one. Maybe.
It's still hot. It's just throwing heat, that's all. Throwing lots of heat. Oh, wow, damn, it's hot.
Okay.
It's cooking.
Oh, we got them flipped over. We'll let them go for another 10 minutes now before we flip again. And the hardest part is the waiting.
Yep.
It's time to do the next flip. 10 more minutes have gone by. So we're going to turn them over. And this time,
Oh, look at sizzle.
oh, sizzling
Sizzle.
through, sizzling through. Okay, so this should be a 5-minute flip here.
Yep. And I'll see about getting this a little bit more.
Okay, so we're getting ready to flip again. And because of the size of these packages, they're a little bit bigger than we usually make. We decided to go 7 and 7 instead of 5 and 5. So the total time will be 10, 10, 7, 7, or 34 minutes rather than 30 minutes. If you make your packages smaller, then the 10, 10, 5, 5 will work fine. I, unfortunately, made the packages bigger than perhaps they needed to be, so we're going to add an extra 2 minutes on the final 2 flips.
That gives us more to eat.
And that gives us, indeed, that gives us more to eat. We're about ready to pull out our foil meals, and we've gotten a couple of aluminum pans that we can put the foil meals in to open them. And here comes the first one. Yeah, let's see how this baby's going to look when we open it up. And here we go. Ray is working on his foil meal. Remember, if you crimp it tight, like you should when you're putting it together, it's going to be a little tough to open up afterward. Just be patient. Remember, it's hot. You might want to wear fireproof gloves.
Or just gloves.
Or gloves. All right. One layer.
One layer.
And we'll get the next 2 layers and see what it looks like. Okay, here we are with the last layer. About ready to see what this creation looks like.
Okay, this is the middle one.
That's that delicatessen fold.
I never heard of the word delicatessen.
Okay, I'm beginning to see some contents.
Okay. Ooh.
Open it up.
I'm trying to. You must be German, I'll tell you that.
No ethnic jokes.
It's not a joke. You can't eat it.
All right, we made it.
Oh,
We made it.
oh, look at that.
It's too bad we don't have smell-o-vision here because this thing smells really tasty.
Oh.
Really tasty. All right, we're going to open the other one up and then we're going to go enjoy.
And this,
So,
is this
here's the other meal. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. We're going to get some additional salt and pepper out here just in case we need it. But it's looking like it's ready to eat, I got to tell you.
Is it what?
So here we are, enjoying the foil meals. Okay, take a bite. There you go. Pretty good. You'll notice it's just about gone, so I guess it wasn't too bad.
Nice piece of carrot.
Carrot. I guess it was cooked for just the right amount of time.
Perfect.
Just the right amount of time.
Actually, really well done. Perfect.
So you can see that the coals are burning themselves down. There's not much heat coming out of there now. In a little bit we'll sprinkle on some water and we'll be able to fill in that hole with the dirt from either side. The idea being to leave the area as if it had never been touched in the first place. In other words, to leave no trace. Okay, it's the final follow-up. You can see that we've taken care of the area. We put the fire out, put the coals out, and covered the hole up with soil and surrounding debris so that it looks like nothing ever happened here. Leave no trace. So we hope that you've enjoyed watching this as much as we did making it. We hope you got some information on how to build a foil meal. Perhaps how to make your own video and even some of the things that you wouldn't want to do while making your own video. If you'd like to contact us about how to get a copy of this video or talk to us about how we made this video that we're going to use for our own unit, you can go to rvd.scoutlander.com. In the upper left-hand corner of the home screen, you're going to see a button that says Contact Us. Tap that, fill in your name, your email address, and your query, and we will get back to you with the information that we can.